So let's talk about Naruto.
And all I've got to offer is sensitivity, intelligence, and charm.
Naruto is a shonen anime that spans about 700 episodes. And a few movies. Those 700 episodes span many generations, following them from childhood to adulthood. Psychology today defines generational trauma as traumatic events passed down to the next generation. When we talk about generational trauma in Naruto, what we aren't talking about is genetic trauma transfer, which is a completely different thing. We're talking about how trauma affects how somebody interacts with those around them, and how that behavior affects the younger generations. As I said before, Naruto is 700 episodes long, there's a ton of movies, there's just a lot of content, and a lot of examples of generational trauma. So for the sake of some sort of organization, what we're gonna do is look at it through the lens of the 4 Great Ninja Wars as well as the Warring States period. Now some of you might be watching this video and thinking, Ellen, I've never watched Naruto, I've never read Naruto, I don't know what you're talking about. So before we really get started, I want to define some key definitions that are relevant to what we're talking about today and the Naruto universe in general. The tailed beasts are 9 titanic living forms of chakra created by the Sage of 6 Paths. Basically, they're weapons of mass destruction. A hidden village is a village of ninjas that protects each nation. 1 hidden village per nation. The Land of Fire has the Leaf Village. The Land of Wind has the Sand Village. The Land of Water has the Mist Village. The Land of Lightning has the Cloud Village. And the Land of Earth has the Stone Village. The Hokage is the leader of the Leaf Village. The Kazekage is the leader of the Sand Village. The Mizukage is the leader of the Mist Village. The Raikage is the leader of the Cloud Village. And the Tsuchikage is the leader of the Stone Village. Jinchuriki literally translates to the power of human sacrifice. A Jinchuriki is a human that has a tailed beast sealed inside of them. The Anbu is a special assassination and tactical squad, covert operatives of capable ninja. Keki Genkai are abilities inherited through a bloodline. A Sharingan is a powerful form of Keki Genkai that is inherited by the Uchiha clan. And finally, a Rinnegan is the rarest form of Keki Genkai. Those who have a Rinnegan are said to either be a god of creation or a god of destruction. Now let's lay the groundwork for some trauma. The period before the establishment of the 5 ninja nations is what's referred to as the Warring States period. Basically, it was a bunch of clans fighting each other. During the Warring States period, the average lifespan of any given shinobi ninja was about 30 years old. The 2 clans that emerged as the strongest during the Warring States period were the Senju and the Uchiha. The period continued until Hashirama of the Senju clan and Madara of the Uchiha clan came together to make a peace. The unity between Madara Uchiha and Hashirama Senju led to the creation of the 5 great shinobi nations, which, if you remember, were Land of Fire, Land of Wind, Land of those. Right away, the modern shinobi world is off to a rocky start. When Hashirama takes on the role as first Hokage, leaving Madara Uchiha to feel like he's playing second fiddle. The cracks in this foundation lays the groundwork for the trauma to come, and leads directly into The First Great Ninja War starts when Hashirama, the first Hokage, divides the tailed beasts among the 5 great ninja nations. As I mentioned while I was going over definitions, tailed beasts can essentially be considered weapons of mass destruction. Hashirama divides up these tailed beasts in an attempt to garner peace among these newly established shinobi nations. All of this seems to work until Madara takes it upon himself to attack the Tsuchikage. And thus the First Great Ninja War begins. Honestly, we don't know a whole lot about the First Great Ninja War. We do know that this is when the second Hokage, the first Hokage, Hashirama's younger brother, dies. Now, the second Hokage was a bit of a polarizing figure because he really didn't trust the Uchiha. The Uchiha were not naive to the feelings of the second Hokage towards them, and this whole thing led to a feeling of unease within the Leaf Village. It also foreshadowed the mistreatment of the Uchiha clan for years to come. Another important thing to come out of the First Great Ninja War was the establishment of one hidden Leaf Village per great nation. Each great nation was only allowed one hidden village full of shinobi to protect them. The First Ninja War ended on kind of uneasy terms. Armistice was signed, agreements were made, but it was all very shaky, and none of the nations really trusted each other again until maybe the end of the Fourth War. These shaky agreements that led to the end of the First War led directly to the Second Great Ninja War. Was born out of economic equalities that were a direct result of the flimsy agreements that ended the First Ninja War. If you know your world history, then you'll know that this is a very similar situation that Germany found itself in after the Treaty of Versailles that ended World War I. The winners got all the economic glory, the losers were hurting for supplies. Interestingly enough, the time period between the First Great Ninja War and the Second Great Ninja War actually canonically mirror the time period between World War I and World War II. This is the war where we get more into the stuff that really affects Naruto's narrative. The Second Great Ninja War are when the Sannin were in action. The legendary Sannin included Jiraiya, Lady Tsunade, and Orochimaru. If you know your Naruto, you know that Orochimaru would eventually become one of the big bads of the show. Lady Tsunade would become the fifth. Lady Tsunade would eventually become the fifth Hokage, and Jiraiya would lay the groundwork for the original Akatsuki, as well as becoming Naruto's mentor, teacher, sensei. You know. It's on a mission during this war that the Sannin discover 3 orphans, Konan, Nagato, and Yahiko. Of note, Nagato possesses a Rinnegan, which, if you'll remember from our definitions, is the rarest form of Keki Genkai, and is believed to be a sign of either the god of creation or the god of destruction. Jiraiya decides to take these 3 orphans under his wing and help them train. He takes a special interest in Nagato, believing that his purpose in life is to train him and bring him up to surpass everybody. He hopes to steer Nagato towards being the god of creation and away from being the god of destruction. Konan, Nagato, and Yahiko eventually form the original Akatsuki, which was a group initially meant to help bring peace and help struggling people and small villages, etc., kind of like a vigilante group. However, as the years went on, the group went from being a positive thing to a negative thing. A negative thing is kind of a light way of putting it. But that's for the Third Great Ninja War. I'm getting ahead of myself. It's also during this time that Tsukumo Hatake takes his own life. Tsukumo was a ninja that was said to even rival the Sannin. He took his own life after disobeying orders to save his friends. This had a profound effect on his son, Kakashi Hatake. I could talk more about Kakashi here, but I think to do that, let's move on to the Third Great Ninja War. Was the first modern world war in the ninja world. Never before had a war been fought at quite the scale of this one. This war paralleled World War I in that it was caused by the breaking down of alliances. It was also the first war that was more between hidden villages and less between nations. It was during this time that the Akatsuki established during the Second Ninja War decided to take a turn bad. It's near the beginning of this war that Kakashi loses both of his teammates, Obito and Rin. Right before Obito's presumed death, he gifts Kakashi his Sharingan, which is the Uchiha Keki Genkai. I hope y'all are taking notes. After the supposed death of Obito, Kakashi is forced to kill Rin when she is kidnapped and made to become a Jinchuriki, which is a person with a tailed beast sealed inside of them. Except, surprise, Obito's not dead, and he witnesses Kakashi murder one of his best friends, and love interest. Mostly best friends, though. This, alongside motivation from a very old Madara Uchiha, prompts Obito to take on the moniker Toby and to meet up with the Akatsuki. These events prompt Kakashi to develop PTSD. Speaking of Obito and the Akatsuki, let's check in with those guys. For a while, the Akatsuki was great. It was led by Konan, Nagato, and Yahiko. That was until Yahiko was killed. This led Nagato to kind of lose his mind a little bit, and to listen to the advice of Obito, who was listening to the advice of Madara. Remember Madara from the Warring States and the First War and the Second War? He was still around. Obito, now calling himself Madara, but sometimes Toby, takes this opportunity to convince Nagato to turn the Akatsuki into a terrorist organization, which he does. The Akatsuki's goal is kind of complicated, but it's basically to collect all the tailed beasts so that they can, destroy the world and, cause world peace that way, effectively turning Nagito and his Rinnegan into a god of destruction rather than a god of creation. Back at the Leaf Village, the third Hokage plans to step down, leaving the position open. The top two contenders to fill the position are Minato Uzumaki and Fugaku Uchiha. Minato becomes the Hokage because, let's be honest, we can't have any Uchiha being the Hokage. This is a pretty big blow to the face since the Uchiha helped a lot during the Third Ninja War. Most importantly to the narrative of Naruto, Fugaku's oldest son Itachi Uchiha fought during the war as a child. This caused Itachi to have a skewed view of death and spurred on intense training, eventually leading to his recruitment into the Anbu Black Ops. Now, this is all a lot, I know. And I know I said that I was going to only focus on the Ninja Wars and the Warring States, but we need to make a quick pit stop here at the NineTails Attack.
12 years ago, a nine-tailed fox suddenly appeared. If you believe it.
This is the basis for the whole show, so we need to talk about the NineTails Attack. The NineTails Attack is like Ninja World. I don't know. It's a big disaster. Okay, let's talk about it. So, basically what happened is Obito, calling himself Madara Uchiha, releases the NineTails upon the Leaf Village. This is all spurred on by Obito's trauma of watching one of his best friends kill his other best friend after being left for dead, also being manipulated by the real Madara Uchiha. Before the attack, tensions between the Uchiha and the leadership of the village had grown even more tense. So, Leaf Village leadership assumed that the Uchiha must have been involved somehow. Because of this, all of the Uchiha were rounded up and put into a compound right where they could be watched out of fear that they were about to perform a coup. Now, were they planning a coup? Maybe. The placement of the Uchiha compound right where they were being watched just made them angrier and made them really start planning that coup. Now, Itachi Uchiha, whose primary responsibility was to the village as a member of the Anbu Black Ops, was hired on as sort of a double agent by the leader of the Anbu Black Ops, Danzo, to sort of act as a double agent. This eventually led to Itachi being instructed by Danzo to massacre his own clan, which he went through with only because he was promised that if he went through with this, he would be allowed to spare his younger brother, Sasuke Uchiha. But the Uchihas aren't the only people experiencing some major trauma during all of this. The attack of the NineTails, the village also loses the fourth Hokage. The fourth Hokage and his wife are killed while trying to protect their newborn infant son, Naruto Uzumaki. Yay, I said the title of the thing! In an attempt to save the village, get rid of the NineTails, and also save the life of their son, they sacrifice themselves and seal the NineTails into Naruto. Naruto then spends much of his childhood ostracized because he has a weapon of mass destruction inside of him, and people are scared of that. Sasuke then spends most of his childhood feeling ostracized because he is the last Uchiha after his own older brother murdered all of them, including their parents. It's messed up. I debated talking about this because it's not as important, but I think it really nicely illustrates the point of this video, which is the trauma from the Warring States period all the way through to the end of the show, and how things affect other things and stuff. During the NineTails Attack, a young kid named Irika's parents are killed by the NineTails. Irika then grows up to be a teacher at the Ninja Academy, where he becomes the de facto guardian of orphaned Naruto, who has the very same NineTails sealed away inside of him. Irika ends up caring for the very thing that killed his parents. It's something to think about. Okay, one more war and then we're at conclusions, and I'm gonna tie it all together and it's gonna be very pretty, okay? Ready? And go! So, the fourth Great Ninja War is the end of the show. Obito reveals himself as alive to Kakashi. There's lots of tears. Kakashi tries to kill him. It's a whole lot. Minato is raised from the dead. And it's, that fourth Great Ninja War. So the fourth Great Ninja War is the first ninja war where all of the nations are fighting together against a common enemy, Madara Uchiha. Madara has been raised from the dead using a reanimation jutsu, which I'm not gonna get into right now. People can raise from the dead in this show. Basically everything from even before the Warring States period. There's like a whole bunch of stuff I didn't even talk about with like aliens and like the origin of all ninjas. Basically everything from that point on comes to a head here. The Uchihas have been conditioned to view themselves as dangerous and have been mistreated for generations and generations and generations, and gosh darn it, they're pissed off. Now I should note the only Uchiha that are like alive for this are Madara, Obito, and Sasuke. Itachi's there for like a little bit, also risen from the dead, spoilers. So basically Madara is trying to create infinite peace by reflecting his Sharingan off of the moon so that everyone is peaceful, but also they're not peaceful because they don't have free will, because Sharingans make people enter a dream state. So it's like fake peace. And Madara's like, hey kids, hey Obito, hey Sasuke, hey Uchiha kids, you should come and help me with this because, you know, we've been mistreated for a really long time and I think it's time that we stopped all of this. First, Obito and Sasuke are like, yeah, that's a good idea. But then first Obito's like, no, that's not a good idea. Then Sasuke's like, no, that's not a good idea. And by the end, Obito and Kakashi have made amends. Obito dies, spoilers, but he is redeemed before he dies, also spoilers. Sorry guys, this is just Naruto spoilered the video. Sasuke decides that he's gonna stop being a little brat and he's gonna help out the Leaf Village. He is a war criminal at this point, which I know we didn't talk about, but Sasuke joined the Akatsuki for a little bit. I'm realizing that this video is like, there's like 10 million things going on and I'm trying my best to keep it organized. There's so much Naruto. So, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what results as an end of the fourth Great Ninja War. Sasuke acquires a Rinnegan. That's cool. Is he a god of creation or destruction? Something to think about. Sasuke and Naruto find out that they are reincarnations of the sons of the Sage of the Sixth Paths. No. Yes. Sasuke and Naruto find out that they are reincarnations of two of the founders of all shinobi and jutsus and all of that, and basically these two people have been reincarnating since the beginning of time. and Madara and Hashirama were reincarnations of these two people. And so they find that out, and that's why they've been drawn to each other and also kind of have hated each other their entire lives. So that gets explained. And it seems by the end of the show that all of the nations are friends now, because they all came together to fight this common enemy. And also Kakashi becomes the 6th Hokage. So, this is getting long. Conclusions! Hopefully, from everything I just talked about, you can see how the trauma that was established during the Warring States period led to more and more trauma, building all the way up until the 4th Great Ninja War, and honestly, probably onwards. The mistreatment of the Uchiha from the very beginning, from Madara lashing out, led all the way to our boy Sasuke. The stuff with Hashirama led all the way to Minato being in charge of Kakashi's team growing up, becoming the Hokage, and then Kakashi becoming the Hokage himself. And then eventually in Boruto, Naruto becoming the Hokage himself. Now there's a bunch of stuff going on with the invention of jutsu, and there's aliens, and there's the Sage of Six Paths, who is the person who like made all the jutsus, and there's a lot of weird stuff that I'm just not gonna touch because I'm tired. You can also see how each Hokage's ruling style was affected by the previous Hokage and by the past traumas from the past ninja wars. The second Hokage was more harsh and more mean towards the Uchiha because he saw how Madara took advantage of his older brother. The third Hokage made the decision to step down as Hokage and let Minato become Hokage. Hokage. And let Minato take over when he felt that his time to rule was over after watching the second Hokage burn himself out. Minato was kind of a family man Hokage. We don't know a whole lot about his rule, but we do know that he did kind of take Kakashi under his wing during, all of his trauma, which is very different from the third Hokage's kind of hands-off approach. Tsunade was a pretty well-rounded Hokage. That's kind of all I have to say about her. She's a healer, which is cool. She also has some trauma. Her fiance died and her little brother during the second Ninja War, which definitely influenced her ruling style and made her hesitant to take on the role of Hokage to begin with. She is also the granddaughter of the first Hokage. Nepotism. The generational trauma observed in Naruto is very similar to the generational trauma that you can observe in the real world as a result of our own world wars. Dr. Angela Speth links the greatest generation's trauma from World War II to trauma many people feel today, following down the family line. I think that that's something you can also really see in a show like Naruto, where you're following multiple generations through multiple wars, through multiple tragedies. You can see how the ancestors of Madara Uchiha view themselves and view the village that they inhabit. You can see how Kakashi teaches his team as his children after losing his father at such a young age. And I'm sure if I could be bothered to watch Boruto, you could watch the trauma that Naruto faces affect his children. I always like to look at media as a reflection of ourselves, and I think that Naruto is a really good example of that, even though it's a show about ninjas and people who can, hold tailed beasts in their tummies and shoot lightning out of their fingers and stuff. I still think that there's a very real human element that comes from dealing with the crimes of your ancestors and dealing with the persecution that your ancestors may have faced. And yeah, that's the conclusion of the Naruto video. This is probably my longest one yet. Because there's a whole, there's so much Naruto. I didn't talk about any of the movies. I didn't talk about the invention of jutsu. I didn't talk about Boruto, and it's a lot. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you could hit subscribe, or you could hit the like button, or you could ring the little bell. Or you cannot do any of those things. That's okay too. I understand.